What's going on, everybody? This is your boy Tony Hadnight, aka the Nocturnist of Different Mind Designs. And today I'm gonna tell y'all how I was able to work with Houston hip hop legend Slim Thug. Stay tuned. What's going on, everybody? This is your boy Tony Hadnight, aka the Nocturnist of Different Mind Designs. And yeah, I really want to tell y'all this quick little story about how I recently just worked with like one of the top known names in Houston, Mr. Slim Thug. I don't even know where to start. Let's just go ahead and backtrack to when I met Joel Rouse, the owner of In Other Words Sports Magazine. So back in 2020, I had met Joel, right? He hit me up, and it's funny because we actually met through a mutual friend. But anyway, he hit me up and he was looking to have a photographer to shoot a cover story for a couple of football players up in the Canadian Football League, Willie Jefferson and Jackson Jeffcoat. Shout out to them too, man. They were great models and everything. We had a great time in Austin, right? So he hired me to do that, and you know, I didn't know Joel from a can of paint. He didn't know me, you know what I'm saying? We just thought it was gonna be a one and done, and that was it. We ended up becoming like really good friends after that. So, you know, we worked on a couple of shoots together throughout the year until, you know, COVID happened or whatever. But you know, as things started to clear back up, we started getting back out shooting, and we got real close. So one thing that I liked about Joel was the fact that, I don't know why I keep thinking I'm seeing something on the screen right there. Anyway, so one thing that I admired about Joel was the fact that he saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. He would always say like, yo, your work is fire. Like, it's dope. And I'm a humble dude, you know, I'm working on that, but I'm like a super humble dude. So when he would tell me stuff like that, I'm like, hey, you know, I appreciate that, you know, just kind of keep it moving. So anyhow, there was a time when we actually had a conversation. I think he was talking about like going away to New York or something like that. And I said something like mad, like hip hop-ish. I was like, well, you know, if you go to New York, you ain't gonna ever find another photographer like me. So I think something may have resonated in him where he was just kind of like, I think this cat is ready to go to the next level, but he just doesn't understand that yet. He doesn't know it yet, right? So one thing he's always taught me was to like to own my dopeness. So I'm working on owning my dopeness. I feel good. Anyway, that's not what this is about. So it got to a point to where I was shooting more and I wanted more than what I was doing, right? Like after shooting with him, with the magazine and working with all the athletes and stuff like that, it really made me want to go to like the next level. But the path that I actually want to go into is more like entertainment, you know, actors, musicians, rappers, like, and start seeing my work more in like marketing ads, you know, fashion magazines, lifestyle, entertainment magazines, like all these different publications that are like really well known and high profile. So I told him, I was like, yo, I want to do that, right? Like, that's where I want to go with. I want to go next level. I feel like my shit's next level. Let's just go, you know? And look, I don't care if y'all don't think my stuff is next level. I have to think that it's next level because I have to promote my shit like a hip hop artist. If I don't think I'm the best, who else is gonna think so, right? Anyway, so I told him I want to do that. So he was like, you know, if this is what you really want to do, like, let's have a meeting about it and then go from there. So I'm like, bet, yeah, let's make it happen. So we had the meeting and we strategized like a couple of plans. We did like a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan, and then like a 10-year plan, you know, as far as like how I wanted the trajectory of my career in photography to go, right? So when I told him I want to start working with more celebrity clients and stuff like that, he was like, yo, just write down a list of some celebrities you want to work with. Don't do all big celebrities, don't do all small celebrities, do kind of like a good mix of both and start locally, right? So I'm like, all right, bet. So I wrote down a list, and Slim Thug was actually on the list. And I'll give you a little backstory on that too here in a moment. But Slim Thug was actually on the list. Now, what's funny about that is, it's amazing how everything just kind of fell into place. So also back in 2020, I did a sit-down interview with my homeboy Fetty over at I Rise Films. And, you know, he was trying to showcase throughout the interview, like, my unique style of night photography that I'm known, you know, that I'm known for or whatever. And there was a question he had asked me. He was like, you know, hey, if you were to ever work with a Houston-based celebrity, who would it be? And I kid you not, people, I said Slim Thug, like straight off the rip. I said straight up Slim Thug. So, you know, I told him that, and that was that. Here's what's even funnier about how this all came, how manifestation and all that stuff works. Back in 2016, around my birthday, Super Bowl was here in Houston. And if you're familiar with the radio show Sway in the Morning, they actually broadcasted an episode of the show at Prospect Park. Is it called Prospect? I forget what the place is called, but they did an interview somewhere off of like Richmond, I don't know, somewhere down there. Anyhow, Slim Thug was there, and he was actually on interview. So that was like kind of like the first time I ever saw him in person. And when he was up there, what really made me want to work with him once I started getting serious about photography was how much he is into his community. You know, like, I'm not from here, so to see him talk about those types of things, I thought that was kind of dope. You know, you could tell that, I mean, yeah, he's a rapper, he got money and this, that, and the other, but he's not just about that. It's like he's about the community. Like, he was talking about how he started a construction company to make homes more affordable in certain neighborhoods in the city, and I thought that was kind of dope. So that was kind of like my first slight run-in with Slim Thug. I guess it wasn't really a run-in. It was just, we were in the same room, and I was a spectator watching him talk to Sway. So that was cool, right? So the second encounter I actually had with Slim Thug was around my birthday again, maybe about 2-3 years later. I was, if you're in the Houston area, you're familiar with Tips Treats. I wanted to go to Tips Treats. I wanted some cookies or whatever, right? So we're riding down the highway or somewhere downtown. I hear this real loud boom, a car behind me. I'm like, man, what the hell going on? And so, you know, we ride. And my wife was actually driving. I was in the passenger seat. And lo and behold, he came and passed by. And so Adrian was like, yo, is that Slim Thug? And I was like, I can't tell, because at this point we were behind him. But I saw like his beard and the shape of his head and everything. And I was like, yo, I think that's Slim Thug. So it was funny because we were going in the same direction. We ended up on the same freeway together, and like we ended up passing him, and I looked and I was like, yo, that was Slim Thug. So that was my second encounter with him. Let's go ahead and fast forward back to now. So after I wrote the list out, you know, we went straight to work. Joel reached out to like several publicists for all the different people that I wanted to work with, and Slim Thug's publicist was one of the first to respond. So I'm like, oh shit, like this is really about to happen. So, you know, she was basically like, yeah, we definitely want to do it. I think it'll be a cool idea, you know, because he showed them out, you know, this ain't gonna happen unless they see your portfolio. She saw the portfolio, she was interested in it, and so they were nice enough to let it happen. Anyhow, so she was just kind of, you know, the process took maybe about a month or so before we actually did the shooting. She was just kind of like, yeah, you know, whenever he gets in town, so on and so forth, because he's real busy right now, we'll make it happen. So it did get to a point where we made it happen. So this is when it started getting really real. He hit me up with and told me that she responded and was like, yo, can we set the date? So we set the date and we set the time. And so I was like, all right, well, bet, I'm gonna find a location. So I found a location. Shout out to the Aloft Downtown, Destiny Jones, marketing manager. You are awesome. So I reached out to Destiny, and we booked the hotel, and things was good, right? Because I wanted to use that rooftop. Things was good. So I started getting more and more nervous as time was going on, because it was like a real rainy week, and I'm like, oh man, what if we get rained out and I can only use that rooftop? So I reached out to Destiny, and she, you know, I was like, yo, hey, if this rooftop, if it rains or whatever, you know, is there an indoor alternative outside of the rooftop? And she was nice enough to like let us use other spots. So she was like, yeah, it's cool, we'll use the lobby, so on and so forth, whatever we need to use to make the shoot happen. At this time, I didn't tell her who I was shooting. So I don't know how she was feeling at the time, but I didn't tell her who I was shooting until it was actually the day of the shoot. So let's go ahead and get to the day of the shoot. We get there. And I set up. We get there probably about an hour and a half early, me and my wife. And then Joel showed up probably about like probably about 30 minutes after we showed up. And so now I'm like, oh snap, like this is really about to happen. So Joel comes, you know, we get the lights and stuff set up. You know, I had bought like a fruit tray. We had fruit tray, water, all that stuff kind of set up as kind of like little refreshments or whatever. And this is when it got super real. Joel was like, hey yo, his publicist just hit my phone. They on their way, they like pulling up. And I'm like, oh snap, man, I don't even know what to do at this point. Like I'm just all over shaking, pacing, doing all kind of crazy, drinking water because my throat's getting dry. And so he was like, you want to go meet him or you want me to go down and meet him? I'm at this point in total shock. So I was like, man, you go ahead and go down. Because prior to all this, I honestly didn't even think it was going to happen. Because I'm like, he's a busy dude. Like maybe something got in the way and it may not even happen. Sure enough, it happened. Anyhow, so he goes down there. I'm upstairs waiting. We waited probably about 15, 20 minutes. And then he was like, yo, they in the lobby. Oh shit, man. It started getting really, really, really real. You know what I'm saying? So at this point, I'm like bugging out. So my wife, you know, she prayed with me and we just had like a little moment. She was like, hey, yo, you got this. Like, treat it like you would do any other shoot, basically. So, you know, I started getting into my mindset. Lo and behold, Slim Thug walked through the door. And I was like, in my mind, just all over the place, losing it. Because I'm a fan of his music. I'm a fan of the work that he does in the community. Like, he has nothing but my respect at this point. So he walked in and we did the shoot, man. And let me tell y'all, it was one of the dopest shoots I've ever done. And I'm gonna tell you why I thought it was so dope. I thought it was dope because, you know, he didn't come with any, like, no diva energy. You know what I'm saying? He came with about 3 outfits. We knocked out the shoot in about 3 spots in the hotel. Luckily, it didn't rain, so we were able to go to the rooftop. But, you know, he was super duper cooperative, you know, like, super duper humble, like, just down to earth, super laid back, like, no pushback, no nothing, like, none of that. So anyhow, we did the shoot, and, man, I'm like, it was crazy. You know what I'm saying? So, I guess the reason I really kind of made this video was not so much to brag about the fact that I was able to shoot with Slim Thug, but more so about the fact that, like, if anybody ever tells you that your dreams can't come true, or if, you know, your vision is too big, or you're crazy and so on and so forth, like, that'll never happen, like, don't listen to that mess, because it can happen, man. Like, I had literally, I'll just put it to you like this. I was ready for a shoot like that, but I wasn't ready for a shoot like that, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, like, don't let nobody ever steer you away from the things that you really want to do in your life, man. I promise you it can happen. Like I said, everything that led up to this shoot happened because it was supposed to happen, and I couldn't be any more grateful. So, you know, shout out to Slim Thug and his crew. Shout out to the Aloft and their crew. Shout out to my man Joel. Shout out to Adrian, my wife, because, you know, when you have a dope support system like that, man, that just only pushes you to, like, it makes you want to go to the next level. You know what I mean? It makes you not want to be lazy. It makes you want to work even that much harder, because now that you see it for yourself, these types of things happen. So with that being said, man, that was my story on how I got to work with Slim Thug. The photos are done. They will be being released pretty soon. So I want you guys to stay tuned. Just make sure that you give me a follow over at IG at Different Mind Designs. And if you enjoyed this video, man, y'all please subscribe, please like, and if you have a similar story to mine, please, man, share it in the comments. I would love to hear what you guys have to say, and share it. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, man, until next time, I will catch y'all later. Peace.